so that he can avoid some fines at this point. The other part that has been added that's a weird wrinkle is Smith has no agent. He is, again, representing himself in these things. But someone is supposedly calling teams trying to find if they could be trade partners. Well, just yesterday, Monday, NFL sent out a memo to all teams saying if anyone is contacting Smith or representing him, it will result in more stringent discipline than in recent years. So to put this in context, just this year, the Dolphins lost a 2023 first-round pick and a 2024 third-round pick when their owner, Stephen Ross, he tampered with Tom Brady in 2019, 2020, and 2021, and then Sean Payton in January of 2022. And then Ross, the owner of the team, had to pay $1.5 million, which is a drop in the bucket for him. That doesn't mean anything. But he is barred from league meetings in 2003 and removed from all league committees. So I think kind of like the Lamar thing, it's definitely not as dicey. I think, the Ravens are a well-run organization. I think hopefully the Bears are going in that direction, but I think Lamar's one will be cut and dry. This weird saga with Roquan, I don't know. I think it'll get done. It might go into the season. I don't see him playing for another team. And also they need him. Yeah. He's their best player. Yeah. Also, you don't want to lose the locker room because, again, he's done for most things right. He's been a great player for them. He's been a good leader in the locker room. So you don't want to try to trade that guy because that sends a bad message to, the culture. So I think they'll get it done. I just think there's a lot of weird things that have come in the way that maybe makes it go into the season. So.
Yep. Well, we'll see what happens about that. Roquan Smith and the Chicago Bears. Okay. Other NFL news, guys, or do you want to move on to the Big Ten?
Big Ten sounds good to me.
Yeah, ESPN and the Big Ten have been partners for football media rights since the early 1980s. ABC, which, like ESPN, is owned by Disney, first started televising Big Ten games in 1966. But here's the big news. They may not be doing that anymore. ESPN may be on the way out, and the Big Ten is talking to CBS, NBC, and everybody else but ESPN, it seems like.
Either way, they're going to make money. I would suspect CBS will come up with the money. But you got so many people vying for so many digital outlets now vying for content that they can count on. So there's going to be some very large numbers bandied about.
I could give you a rough estimation of those numbers if you want them. Nicole Arbach for The Athletic, she says that the CBS and NBC deals that are close to possibly being done would cost $350 million a year, and that CBS would get what they had with the SEC prime game that they had. It'd be 3:30 the CBS game, and the NBC game would be prime time after the Notre Dame game. Mm-hmm. And Fox would get the A, quote unquote, A package, and it would be the big noon kickoff because obviously they really built that brand over the last few years into being where a lot of their marquee games in the Big Ten will air at noon, which will be interesting with USC and UCLA because we're talking about 8 o'clock in the morning. They play.
Yep.
So yeah, it'll be interesting. And ESPN declined because. Again, you go back to the deals, and I don't know if the games are different. They added supposedly an additional $30 million to the deal because ESPN declined a $380 million deal for 7 years for the Big Ten games, and they almost had to because they just signed a contract with the SEC for 10 years. That goes into effect in 2024. That's worth $300 million a year for those 10 years. So. They can't, just to try to save face with SEC, who obviously they're more invested in.
Sure.
They can't pay an additional $80 million for B and C level games when they're getting the whole package at SEC. I get that from that point from them. But obviously that leaves a big hole for ESPN. So obviously look for the Big 12 and, the Pac-12 or whatever they're going to be called now. Obviously Pac-12 is going to lose 2 teams. So they'll probably fill that hole. And the other obviously caveat to come out of this, with NBC being involved, this it gets closer and closer to Notre Dame becoming a part of the Big Ten.
So is this the beginning of the end? Are we seeing things getting chipped away at ESPN, or what is happening? How do you guys feel about the future of ESPN and its life with Disney?
They're not going to go away. I just think that there are so many other options now to get your product out. And let's be honest, football, college football, it's all a product. So you're going to say, but the numbers are going to get astronomical just because those are where the eyeballs are.
J-Boy, to be fair to your point, it's definitely just a very interesting time in terms of television and media, just because I don't think ESPN goes away, but like with a lot of things, it's going to become to a degree more niche just because how much the only thing that people watch as it's happening for the most part consistently. That's why all these numbers are so massive, is because people watch live sports, because you can DVR it. But, it can be ruined for you if you go on social media or, see like clips or of like plays or whatever. I mean, that's why no one even needs to watch SportsCenter anymore. By the time you see SportsCenter, you see a highlight you've seen 8 times just from your phone.
Yep.
So it's the only way to really generate. So you have all these entities, and, we haven't even really talked about Amazon or Apple getting involved in this, because there's still probably going to be some games left available for the Big Ten that isn't cut between those 3 slices. ESPN will always kind of live on, but it's just, when it's the quote unquote worldwide leader in sports, I don't think it's going to be that anymore.
Well, as we enter the season this year with Amazon, who started their life as Jeff Bezos' dream of selling online, candles and pot holders, right? Now in 2022, they've looped in Kirk Herbstreit and Al Michaels to do football on a streaming service. Who would have thought that 10 years ago, even 5 years ago?
Like you said, I mean, it's not even just like they're, usually when these startups happen, it's rinky dink, but obviously consider who it is. It's like some of the best broadcasters that have ever done it. And then look.
And technically they've hired the crew, the producers and directors. Mm-hmm. They're not they're pumping money into it. This is not 2 cameras and a microphone. It's for real.
Hey, easy. That's how we do this program here. Be careful.
Actually, disrespect to this person, but not this show, not this beloved show.
Wow.
But I don't know if y'all remember years ago, not to go off the rails a little bit, Yahoo tried to get into having shows. Had some shows. Some of them were okay, but man, it was rough, and it's why it failed so massively. It's like they kind of went into it half-assed, and that's what you got as a half-assed product, and the half-assed product's not going to work.
I saw a Prime truck in my neighborhood, and on the side there's Mahomes and Josh Allen. It says "Watch Thursday Night Football on Prime." It's like, this is real. It's strange to me.
Serious business,
big money. Yeah. Okay, what else tonight, fellas? Anything else?
The only thing I'll say just real quick, in terms of preseason games, I want to say that George Pickens, the wide receiver from the Steelers, who I wanted maybe the Bears to get, and it would help Justin Fields out a lot. It pains me to watch, but he was one of those guys when the camp started, they're he's killing it. Then you just watch one drive with Mason Rudolph, our favorite quarterback for the Steelers, score a great touchdown in the back of the end zone. You're like, God, they do it again. Steelers, the best team at drafting wide receivers, just year in, year out, just getting stars.
But by the same token, they've been known to have a head case or two, i.e. Antonio Brown. I think Pickens is a head case as well. But staying with that game, I was impressed with Kenny Pickett, man.
Yes.
That was impressive. I was also, the stuff I caught, Desmond Ridder. He had himself a moment, a real good moment. And Cincinnati's kicker, he had a couple of them that were longer than 55 yards. I mean, and were comfortably good. They didn't doink or do any of that stuff that the Chicago people are real famous for.
There you go again.
There it is.
Lugs, we forgot to do Sports of Yesteryear. Should we crank that baby up?
Sure.
Let's do it. Come on. It's Sports of Yesteryear. We forgot to wrap it up with this. How could we do that? He's out and about in his mobile news unit somewhere near a public library, I think. Here's Lugs with sports.
All right. 1920. This is a sad one, fellas. Get out your hankies. Cleveland Indians shortstop Ray Chapman is hit in the head by New York Yankees pitcher Carl Mays. Chapman dies the next day, the only fatality in an MLB game in the history of the sport.
Wow.
Let's brighten it up a little bit. 1936, the 11th Summer Olympiad closes in Berlin. Hitler has chocolate pie on his face. I don't know what, but he's not happy. 1954, the American brand management company Authentic Brands Group first publishes Sports Illustrated, SI, baby, SI. 1981, Louisville's Mary T. Maher breaks her own world record in the 100-meter butterfly in Brown Deer, Wisconsin. Never heard of Brown Deer, Wisconsin.
No, me neither.
1997, for the only second time in Stanley Cup history, the game leaves North America and goes to Russia. And speaking of Russia, 2016, Russian pair Natalia Ishchenko and Svetlana Romanchino retain their Olympic synchronized swimming duet title at the Rio Games.
What you said.
That, my friend, is Sports of Yesteryear. Say that 3 times.
Roshenko. Wow, those are some names there right out of the old country, that's for sure. Wow, okay, so that poor guy died at a baseball game, huh? Dang it.
Well, he died the next day.
Got beamed.
Oh, yeah, he got savaged.
Well, on that note, we'll bring to a close this edition of Sports and Other Stuff. Brought to you in part by Rose Auto Sales, Highway 51 North. If there's stickers down on the back of your car, you probably paid too much. We know a guy working there tonight.
Oh, our man Fish. And this week, to mark the 45th anniversary of the death of King of Rock and Roll, yes, Elvis Presley, this Saturday, our man Fish will host a Elvis look-alike and sound-alike contest. The contest will be judged by last year's winner, Bertha Stottlemyre, who credits screaming at her 8 children for deepening her voice. She won by serenading her librarian husband, Scotty Stottlemyre, with Honka Honka Burning Love. That performance apparently was the impetus for child number 8, Cliff, who just celebrated his 22-month birthday. Come on down at 1 p.m. this Saturday. Fish's Mrs. Gala will be making fried peanut butter and nana sandwiches for everyone. All right, come on.
First in sound, first in service, and first in nanner sandwiches. This is Sports and Other Stuff. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye now.